on last night's State of the Union. Let's talk to someone who was in the room as the president delivered the address. North Carolina first-term Congressman Brad Knott. Congressman, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much. It's good to be here.
What was it like for you last night? What did you think of the president's speech, and what was your favorite moment?
You know, it was truly an absolute, just a wonderful privilege to be there. The patriotism was palpable. The entire gallery, by and large, was behind the president and what the president was saying. The gallery and all of the Republicans, for the most part, were in lockstep supporting the just tremendous list of guests that were recognized and their accomplishments, their service, their bravery. And the president, he really did. He just solidified himself as the leader of our party, and not just the leader of our party, but we're going to be working for the American people. And the other side took real issue with that, and so the disparity was brilliantly displayed, and patriotism was alive and well. And again, it was just an honor to be there. It really was.
If I had to come up with a word to describe the Democrats' behavior last night, I would use childish. And it was hard to tell from the TV angles, but it looked like most Democrats stayed seated when Trump announced the U.S. gold medal winning men's hockey team. Is that true?
You know, it's one of those things, to be honest with you. I did notice that some of them sat down, but the entire room just erupted when those young men walked out. And it was not about partisan politics. It was about the United States of America and a great victory. And these young men, they were there beaming with pride. They were there chanting USA, USA with the rest of us. They were so humbled to be there and so happy to be there. The idea that the Democrats would let partisan posturing or the resentment that they have for the president get in the way of that moment, I can't explain that. But it was just a palpable and a very powerful moment to be there. I mean, the entire room erupted when those young men came in, and it's something that I will not soon forget.
Yeah, what a fantastic win for that team after 50 years. But again, kind of offensive to watch the Democrats sit on their hands instead of applauding the president's accomplishments, which affect all Americans, but also when he was honoring guests like the mother of a young woman slain on a subway train by a career criminal. And it's my understanding that the Democrats did not stand for that mother.
Well, it's one of those things, Rick, that, when these guests, the guests represent reality, and reality flies in the face of their darling policies, open borders, mass migration, letting people out of jail, saying you cannot incarcerate your way to public safety. And whether it was Irina Zaruska or the precious little girl who got hit by an illegal immigrant driver of an 18-wheeler, these are direct harms caused by the Democrats' core philosophies today. And whether it's public safety or illegal immigration, the president is right. And the American people see it when you have such a clear example. And that's a real threat to the Democratic Party because their platform is really wrapped around very weak public safety and open border mass migration.
Well, I got to say, that's some pretty astute analysis on your part, Congressman. I also want to play another clip for you from the president and get your thoughts on this.
Sure.
Do we have that clip?
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
The Democrats' Trump derangement syndrome made them choose illegal aliens over American citizens. Your reaction to that moment?
I wasn't surprised at all when he was walking through leading up to that moment. I said, he's going to make us stand up for the American citizens, and the Democrats will not do it. I mean, you look at what happened to Joe Biden.
Yeah.
4 million illegals were given Social Security numbers, hundreds of billions of dollars lavished on illegal immigrants. And you look at what's happened to our country because of it. Close to 1 million Americans have died because of the ills of the open border in just the last 25 years. These are obvious problems caused by illegal mass migration. But the Democrats cannot win elections without it. They cannot retreat from that policy. They're too invested. And it's worth noting that one of the most boisterous voices in that room was Ilhan Omar, my colleague from Minnesota. And she got unbelievably agitated when the president went after the Somalian fraud. Again, these are the pillars of the modern day Democratic Party: mass migration, mass entitlement, and really to the detriment of the American citizen. And the entire party is refusing to change course, and it's really noteworthy.
Well, that fraud is right there in your wheelhouse, Congressman. As a former federal prosecutor, I know you issued many detainers for illegals already in jail. How often would you say they were ignored, those retainers or detainers, by local jurisdictions?
Well, under Joe Biden, they were routinely ignored. And the way that this works, I'm sure you know, someone is in custody. That means they have committed a crime. And rather than comply with federal law enforcement to deport them, sanctuary jurisdictions order their release. So you have a murderer, a child rapist, a drug dealer who's here illegally at a sheriff's office or a police department in state custody. And rather than work with federal agencies to deport that person, they will release them onto the streets. Again, it's a very simple analysis. That is pro-illegal immigrant criminal and anti-American. And it has not stopped since President Trump has gotten in office. Since he's taken office, thousands of illegal aliens who are in custody have been released because the president has tried to deport them. It is criminal. It's obstructionist, and it harms every American.
And Congressman, we talk about that very issue quite a bit on this program, how Democrats are allowing violent illegal aliens to skirt deportation, making it a whole lot tougher on ICE agents to catch them instead of just picking them up at the jail when they're getting released. And I just wonder why the American people don't see this. Why, no matter how often we talk about it, they don't seem to understand how bad this is and how dangerous this is.
Well, I think most Americans have whether it's good or bad, they want to assume the best, that their government will act in good faith. And if they understood how the criminal justice system works and how efficient it can work when you have people with traditional beliefs, they want to believe that. But when you have people who obstruct it, it's complicated to explain, and it's unbelievably nefarious. And I think that the longer we can beat this drum and educate the public, the tide will further shift away from the Democrats' support for mass migration and illegal immigration. Because again, they've crossed the line. They are letting criminals out of custody rather than deporting them. And the more Americans see that, the more victims that unfortunately will result from that, I think the tide will even further turn against their policy.
Congressman Knott, we appreciate your time very much. We hope you'll come back on the show again real soon.
Anytime. Thank you.